Welcome back. And joining me now is Democratic Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona. Senator Kelly, welcome back to Meet the Press.
It's good to be on.
It's wonderful to have you here. A lot of ground to cover. Let's start with the Middle East. Again, you just heard my conversation with Vice President J.D. Vance. How much confidence do you have that this peace agreement will hold?
Well, I hope it does. And this is a big deal. I mean, to get this close. And the hostages, as the Vice President said, hopefully released on Monday. The Israeli IDF, taking a step back per, the first step that's supposed to happen here. So we're going to watch closely and see, what happens in the days, weeks, months ahead. I think it was good to hear that we're not going to have troops beyond the CENTCOM forces that are already there on the ground. But, beyond this is going to be up to Hamas and Israel to keep this peace. And my hope is that the other countries like UAE and Saudi Arabia actually do what they say they're going to do, which is support not only the peace, but the rebuilding of Gaza.
Do you believe that this peace deal came together now because President Trump was more effective at pressuring Prime Minister Netanyahu than former President Biden was?
Well, it seems that the president has a very complicated and interesting relationship with the Prime Minister of Israel. And I think it's fair to give him credit for this. I mean, this so far looks like a possibility of a success. And I'll tell you, if it does hold over the long term, now we've got things we've got to worry about here. I think you could say that his relationship with Bibi was part of this.
Okay, let's turn to the big news here at home, the shutdown. Of course, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said this week, quote, "Every day gets better for us." Of course, that comes as hundreds of thousands of federal workers have been furloughed. Mass layoffs have already started, as I was just discussing. Is that the right message from the Senate Democratic leader, that every day gets better?
Yeah. I heard what Senator Schumer said about this, but it's not about winners and losers. In this situation, we've got 2 million Americans that are likely to lose their health care because they're not going to be able to afford these premium increases. And I think it's important for all Americans to know that this fight right now over this government shutdown is about one thing. It's about the cost of their health care. Tens of millions of people, about 19 million people get their health care off the Affordable Care Act. And their rates are going to go up dramatically, and it's going to become unaffordable. I've talked to so many people in my state, often around the age of 60, but some also in their 20s. A woman named Vivian who had a complicated pregnancy, and without the ACA, she felt like she could lose her home. Another woman named Cricket, who's 63, who's going to see her health care costs possibly triple, who also had a medical emergency. It could have cost $10,000. It cost her $1,000. Without the ACA, these folks are one illness or one accident away from bankruptcy. So that's what this is about. And we have to get this administration. Now, the vice president talked about like a negotiation. The president has negotiated for 1 hour, as far as we can tell. And Republicans in the House, they've been gone for 4 weeks. And John Thune, the majority leader in the Senate, sent people home for 4 days.
Well, you take me to my next question, because tensions are running high on Capitol Hill. We have some video of that. You and your fellow Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego confronting Speaker Mike Johnson over the fact that the House is currently out of session. And as you just laid out, one of Democrats' core demands is to extend Obamacare subsidies. If Republicans commit to hold a vote to extend these subsidies before the end of the year, would that be enough for Democrats to reopen the government? Would you vote for that? Would you support that?
Not right now. No, we need a real negotiation, and we need a fix. We need this corrected for the American people. This is, for so many people, their health care is running towards a cliff. And if we don't fix this, it's going to go right over it. And having, some vote without an assured outcome. Now, here's the thing. The president has indicated that he wants to do something about this, and he wants the government open. Well, we want this fixed, and we want the government open. So why is there a problem here? And all this is going to take is putting everybody in a room for an extended period of time and coming up to some reasonable conclusion. This isn't one of these cases where you have people that want different outcomes. The president has said he is interested in extending these subsidies.
I do want to turn to some other major news now that we were just discussing here with the Vice President. New York Attorney General Letitia James has now been indicted just weeks after the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey, both coming after President Trump personally instructed the Attorney General to prosecute them. Those indictments were carried out by grand juries. You just heard my conversation with the Vice President. Let me ask you, do you have faith in the Justice Department?
Well, I am not happy with a Justice Department that acts on commands and orders from the president. Now, the Vice President.
Do you have faith in the Justice Department, though?
I generally do. I have faith in our legal system. Our legal system has become incredibly more complicated with a president who will send orders via Truth Social in a direct message to the Attorney General to prosecute people. That's not the way this is supposed to work. It's never worked this way, as far as I know, in the history of our country. So we have a president that's ordering DOJ to prosecute his perceived political enemies. And like my colleague Senator Schiff said, there's a long list. I think there's more of these coming. And when you look at the details of some of these cases, it is just ridiculous that these individuals find themselves in this situation.
You mentioned Adam Schiff. Are you concerned? Do you think that Adam Schiff should be bracing for possible legal action?
For him and others that, have to, John Bolton, as an example, and others. People that wrong this president, he is looking for opportunities to attack them directly through our legal system, and that is wrong.
Before I let you go, former Vice President Harris is on a national book tour right now, her book, 107 Days. She has some sharp words for some Democrats, including yourself. She writes that while she admired you greatly when she was considering you for her running mate, quote, he also hadn't yet had an oh blank moment in his relatively short political career. I wasn't sure how he would cope with the kind of garbage Trump would throw at him. I realized that I couldn't afford to test Mark Kelly in that ugly grinder. What was your reaction to hearing her say you were untested?
Well, I'm pretty good handling garbage. That's never been a problem. It was an honor to be considered. And, we right now, we're trying to address all kinds of problems right now. And I'm not so much focused on a book, but I do wish her success, and I hope she sells a lot of books. As somebody who's written some books, it's hard to sell books.
Do you think that Kamala Harris would be a strong candidate in 2028?
Candidate? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, she was the nominee last time. I think
you would encourage her to run.
I think she would be incredibly strong. I think you're going to have, a dozen, if not more, folks running, probably on either side.
Could your name be on that list, Senator?
We're focused on trying to get the government open right now, trying to get our troops paid. There is still a war going on in Ukraine. We didn't even have the opportunity to talk about that. I'm hoping to get back to Ukraine this year, try to figure out what is the path forward there. We've got, challenges in the Western Pacific and Indo-PACOM with the Chinese. I'm concerned that this administration is going to change our national defense strategy to focus just on the Western Hemisphere, where our pacing threat is clearly China.
All right. Senator Mark Kelly, thank you so much. Really appreciate your being here.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.